everybody. I'm Stacey J.
And I'm Chuck Duran.
Welcome to another amazing episode of VO Buzz Weekly.
That's right. And today we're all about Beau Weaver, part 2. So let's go there now. I know that you probably have many, but what would you say is your greatest accomplishment?
Oh, man, I don't know.
I hate to make you think so late.
That my daughters are so cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've got awesome daughters.
How many?
3.
3 daughters. 3 awesome daughters.
And 8 grandchildren.
Holy Toledo!
Yeah.
You're probably a really cool grandfather. What do they call you? What's their name?
Beaupa.
Beaupa.
Because see, when I was a
I love
grandfather
it.
when I was single, and I found that the whole G thing,
Ooh.
not that big a selling point out there.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No. So
I'm a
Beaupa
single
it is.
grandfather. Yeah, that's not real chick magnet, huh?
No, it was not,
No?
I found.
That's awesome.
funny.
Well, I am the youngest of 5 daughters, so I can tell you, dads.
Dads and little girls, there's a magical connection that is
Absolutely.
like, unlike anything else.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's probably my favorite thing.
Yeah. Is there something that you wish you were better at?
Patience, but I'm getting there. As I've gotten older, I've gotten more patient.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
That's a good thing. We all need
Were
a
you
little
referring
more
to
patience.
specifically? I mean, like as a performer, that kind of thing.
Well, you could say either.
I like where I am right now, and because at a certain point, it becomes really more about self-acceptance than trying to be something. And I guess that kind of leads into something I'd like to say that I think the key as a performer really is in belief in yourself and self-acceptance. And there's sort of 2 little stories that I could tell. One is about Marlon Brando, and I've shared this a lot. He was on a film set with a director early in his career who was giving him a lot of technical direction. And in film, there's a lot of things. You have to stay at a certain place to be in focus, and lights, and there's a lot of technical things you have to have in mind. And Brando was moving all over the place, and so the director came and said, "Listen, Marlon, you're moving out of your focus and out of your key light, and so and you're mumbling, you're kind of turning away, and we're not able to hear you." And so he sort of nodded and said, "Oh, listen, don't you have a guy that whose job it is to move the camera?" "Well, yeah, Marlon. We and a guy works microphone and move it around, and that's his job to move that around." "Well, yeah, sure. Of course we have a boom operator."
Yeah.
"Well, why don't you tell them to do their job, and I'm just going to be the guy. I'm just going to be the guy. I'm just going to be the guy.
Yeah.
So I don't have to try."
Yeah.
It's like, if I was the guy, how would I do it? And in this case, they cast me as the guy. So I am the guy. So I'm just being the guy, saying it the way I would say it. And when you have that sort of idea, that's where the magic can happen.
Yeah.
Joan Darling is a director of film and television who I worked with. She's an acting coach too, and she's really wonderful. And she talked about trusting the given circumstances of the play. And I say it a little bit differently, and that is that the words in your script are enough. You don't need to hit them and bang on them and stress them and underline them. Maurice Tobias talks more about noticing a word rather than stressing a word.
Yeah.
Just notice it, But if you believe that the words are enough, and not only that, but that you are enough.
Yeah.
You're the one they picked, and you know what? You're the guy. In this little play acting thing we got going, you're the guy. So just be the guy. You're enough, and the words are enough, and just let it come through you.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how you can get out of your own way if you kind of stay there.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the guy, we had Ginny McSwain on earlier in the year.
Oh, that makes me smile just to hear somebody
See?
talking about Jenny
Lois
McSwain.
Lane. So speaking of the guy, she was your Lois Lane to your Superman.
Superman.
How was that for you?
Well, it was a big
Because I know
thrill.
you're not doing a lot of animation because you're
No.
so busy with promos and trailers and such,
Yeah.
but
That was
What
the
was that
hugest
like?
thrill to get to play Superman because I subscribed to Action Comics when I was a little kid and I even got a Superman suit when I was like 6 years old for Christmas.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you wore it like while you were recording it.
No,
That would have been
I'm
brilliant.
not that weird. I am a strange dude, but not that strange. But I did have a Superman suit, and I was, so what an honor.
Yeah.
And that was a very interesting series because it was the 50th anniversary of the creation of the Superman character, and they brought it back after many years of no Superman series. And the way they cast it was interesting. Jenny and several other people auditioned as directors. So each director who was auditioning brought in their people to read for the roles. So Michael Bell brought me in to read for Superman. His thinking was modeled on the Chris Reeves kind of idea, a gentler Superman. Previous Supermans have been announcers, Bud Collyer and Danny Dark and people like that who were big voice guys.
Yeah.
But he wanted to go against type, so he wanted a gentler Superman. Well, Michael also brought in Jenny McSwain. She was one of the ones
Going to be the director. Yeah.
He brought her in as Lois Lane. So, and then when it was all said and done, Jenny both got the gig as director and as Lois Lane. Everybody thought she cast herself. She didn't. Michael Bell had brought her in for that.
It was great, but she was telling us about it, and I mean, her eyes lit up just like yours are. I love it.
Oh, she was wonderful.
Yeah,
do you
she's
remember
great.
what your Superman sounded like?
Well, actually, it just came out on DVD fairly recently, and I'm frankly a little disappointed to hear it because it is inconsistent. Because in the beginning, we had the idea of a gentler Superman.
Right.
When they got the animation back, it wasn't really. It needed to be bigger. Sometimes you can't reinvent the wheel, and Superman has got in a cartoon has got to sound kind of like Superman. So Jenny said after about the third episode, when they got the animation back, "Butch it up, buddy."
Butch it up, buddy.
And that's exactly how I could hear her saying that. Yeah.
So you can hear that actually
that's funny.
if you listen
Little
to the
trivia
later episodes.
for you out
That's
there.
great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Very,
I
very
love
cool.
it. I love it.
Okay, so I'm a VO actor. I'm out there in the trenches, man. I'm trying to make this thing happen. Maybe I'm a little scattered. Maybe I'm not focusing in the right areas. What would you recommend that somebody should focus on when they're out there trying to do something? What are some of the priorities that you should really focus on?
Well, in general, I'd say you got to focus on one genre of the business. Now, I've been really lucky in that I've worked in almost every little nook and cranny of the field there is, and that's generally not the way it goes for people. People tend to be specialists.
Right.
I mean, some of the guys that you've had on who are animation guys are completely capable of doing promos and commercials and other things, but generally don't. So it's generally true that you should find one niche of the business, because the truth is there's not this business called voiceover. There are very specific things. Animation has nothing whatsoever to do with commercial voice acting. Commercial voice acting has no relationship whatsoever to do with movie trailers. Different sounds, different techniques, totally different buyers, different unions, different everything. And it's really like here comes another sports metaphor.
Oh boy!
I may mess this up, guys.
Are we going to do the bicycle thing again?
No, this is not bicycle,
now.
but it's like there's,
Hockey,
football players.
Football.
Okay,
Football players.
Generally don't
that's
play
football.
professional baseball, although I think there was one or two exceptions of guys who did both.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, you are one or the other. Now, both guys are in a field called athletics.
Right.
you know, but they're specific games. So the commercial game is totally different from the audiobook game.
Yeah.
And you got to pick a game and learn to play that game. And then once you achieve some success, maybe that will give you a
Diverse,
platform to learn another game. But they're all completely different games with completely different rules and completely different players and buyers.
Learn how to be great at one game
Yo.
first. Okay, so Beau has been unbelievably cool enough to let us go to his house,
Yes.
where he's going to show us his studio. We're going to do a home studio invasion, his studio, and how he makes his magic, what he does to make his stuff
Just
happen.
trying to remember if there's like any underwear or towels or socks left on the floor.
Clean up your act, Weaver. We're coming over.
Okay.
We're coming over.
I thought I heard somebody out here. VO Buzz Weekly, come on in. Come in and see my crib, yo. Trying to sound like MTV, but you know, my demographic, it's not that credible. I have a very small studio. It's a converted garage. It has nothing I don't need and everything I do. That's actually my voice print. It's just a screenshot. That's me saying rated R, rated PG-13, rated G. I have two separate and distinct spaces. The recording editing station, and then over here is the booth, which is a freestanding booth, doesn't touch any of the structural walls, which is what helps it stay quiet. I have a portable recording studio, which is pretty darn compact. Everything I need to record is in this. The MacBook Air, which is a full-on computer about the size of an iPad. The 416 microphone, and the audio interface is the Centrix MicPort Pro. Goes into the end of the 416 like this, connects to the computer, and I carry this anytime I leave the house because often I've got clients who need a pickup line right now. And I throw a blanket over me, which I keep in the back seat of the car, to kill the bounce from the glass in the cockpit of the car, and do my recording and upload it via a 4G data hotspot. And there they got it, and I saved the client's bacon again. I do have a couple of things I do need to get recorded and sent off really quickly, so if you don't mind, I'm going to kill two birds with one stone and talk to you guys and record a couple of things real quickly. Operating position here is set up with me reading off an iPad. Twisted Wave has an, what do you call it, a remote app that you can download so that you can start and stop and add markers to the audio file from the iPad. It's the Sennheiser 416 microphone. It feeds a high-end preamp that I have in the booth with me so that I can control its level, so the John Hardy M1. And it goes directly into a simple audio interface for Twisted Wave or right down the ISDN codec, and that's it. Okay, this is a pickup for FXM. It is America's Sweethearts. You only wanted the tag, but I'm going to read the body copy as well for editorial. The perfect Hollywood couple can't stand each other. The perfect Hollywood couple can't stand each other. The perfect Hollywood couple can't stand each other. Julia Roberts, Catherine Zeta-Jones, John Cusack, Billy Crystal. America's Sweethearts. Next on FXM. Okay, I have a couple of other things to do here real quick. Disney Finding Nemo Blu-ray takes A, B, and C. Disney Pixar's Finding Nemo. Catch it on Blu-ray December 14th. Disney Pixar's Finding Nemo. Catch it on Blu-ray December 14th. So, now I'm going to go out and edit that and send it off to the client. Finding Nemo finally comes to Blu-ray. Finally. Now I'm going to take that boo-boo out. Finding Nemo finally comes to Blu-ray. Disney Pixar's Finding Nemo. I'm just deep breathing it here. So now I'm just going to export that into a file like that. The most important part of VoiceOver is not the technology, it's the performance. It's all about the performance. And somebody asked me a while back what was my most important piece of equipment, and I said my heart and my ears. I'm going to get back to slamming out stuff. I mean carefully crafting some stuff for some clients, and hopefully they won't see this. But thanks for coming by.
How cool is this guy?
Oh, so cool.
Look how
Thank you so
look how
much.
relaxed he is. He's like,
He's
yeah,
like,
this is
yeah.
It's not that I'm
It's
relaxed.
just what I do.
I don't know what to
He's
do.
patient
when
now. That's
when
right,
I'm
I
on
forgot.
camera, I have no idea what to do with myself. I mean, this is, it's
No, but it's actually a really big deal that you're out of the house and out of your studio because you.
I don't get out very much.
So
I'm
this
a
is
shut-in.
really this is really an honor for us to
Absolutely.
excavate you from your home. So
Well,
thank
it
you.
looks better that I stay at home because it used to be. I mean, in the mid '90s, I would go to like 5-6 different places in a day,
Yeah.
and 3 of those I would get thrown out because I thought I was a homeless guy coming in looking for a place to go to the bathroom. And that used to happen all the time.
You know what? Just on that topic, okay, you have this long hair. He
Yeah.
looks like a friggin' rock star.
Yeah.
Right? Why? What's the whole look for? What made you?
It had because I can. That's the
That's
short.
the
Yeah.
right answer. But
It is, some in New York they kind of believe your clothes. Out here they believe your car. But really, it's my way of saying I've earned the right to do my life the way I want to.
Absolutely.
Cool.
I love
That's
it.
it.
it's
I
not
love
just
it.
because you're lazy and you don't want to go see a friggin' hairstylist. or
I've
anything
saved
like that.
so much money on grooming products, you have no idea. In fact, I think that I'm going to be bringing back split ends as a style. The young kids are going to start doing
It's
that
like having
anytime
twice
now.
as much hair if you have
That's
the
right.
split end. It's
That's
awesome.
right.
This is rock, man.
But you
There
are.
should- There's probably a band now that's going to be, dude, we're going to call ourselves
Split
Split
Ends.
Ends.
No, but as you know, Chuck and I, we are fond of hair. This is a very hairy show, so this is good. This is the. But also, I mean, you are so busy that you literally carry around a portable
Yes.
gear with you.
Yeah, I have been doing that really for a long time. And I go back and forth between LA and Ojai. And I can't tell you how many times they say, "Oh my God, we're so glad we got you. We got to change this line." Oh well, guys, I'm halfway between LA and Ojai. It's about 40 minutes either way,
Yeah.
whichever way. Oh no, and it's got a satellite out in 10 minutes.
Whoa.
Okay.
What's the wackiest place you've had to Porto studio?
I go
Record.
to an Indian reservation out in South Dakota. There's a tribal gathering that I go to, and
Are
I'm way
these your buddies or something? These are friends?
kind of adopted family.
Okay.
Love it.
And it's really way out in the middle of nowhere. 80 miles from the Nebraska border, out in the middle of the state, and I actually took a cellular modem and put it on a teepee pole and lifted it up to about 30 feet. And I was able to pick up a signal from a cell tower out of Valentine, Nebraska. And I did a job from the cab of my truck.
You are crazy.
You have no
You got to do what you got to do. No,
have no
the
idea.
promo guys,
He's
they're like,
crazy.
on call. It's like we need that promo stat. I mean, you guys are
I'm in a
like,
teepee right now, but you know what?
Well,
I can do it.
Technology really has changed things a lot. It used to be back
Yeah.
in the 90s, or even just a couple of years ago, they would call my agent on a Monday to confirm a job for Wednesday morning. And it took that length of time to confirm with the studios and calls back
Right.
and forth and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. Now, they call my agent and say, "Hey, listen, we just got approval to use Beau in the Thus and Such campaign." And my agent says, "Oh, yeah, that's great, because you did so many demos on that. When do you need him?" And they say, "Right now." And he says, "Really? Yeah, he's in a narration session. I can have him for you in about 20 minutes. How about that? How about 4:30? They say, "Oh, no, who else you got?"
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
You can't wait 15 minutes? No, we're replacing somebody on the campaign, and it's got a satellite out in a half hour. So, so it's that fast now. And
Yeah.
so, we have to respond really,
Yeah.
really quickly
Yeah.
and be
Or you
able
lose the
yeah,
gig.
or you
Yeah.
lose the gig.
Wow.
is there ever a point where you just say, I'm checking out for X amount of time, that's it, or no?
I don't. I generally don't work on the weekends, but sometimes I do.
Is
Yeah.
that
Sometimes I
your
do.
rule, or is that because they're shut down?
That's just.
And then
but
it's shut down.
there are pickups and problems and fixes and look, I liked part of this business is really giving them good service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my grandfather used to say, try to give them a dime for their nickel, and I try to do that.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's good. I like that.
I do like that.
If we talk to the person, your best friend or the person that knows you best,
What would they say is your greatest attribute?
Oh man, this is getting all actor studio.
Come on, baby. Let us have it. Let us know who Beau is.
Oh man,
You're very humble, so you just make it about you for a second, Beau. Come on.
You know, I'm. You know, it's hard for me to answer because I'm so focused on the task at hand. I'm not sure what they would say.
Would they say that you're just driven? Would they say that you set your eye on that target, man, and poof, that's it?
Yes, I think that's true in almost anything I've done. And when I was a little kid and I was building things out of blocks, you know, and my mother came to get me, you know, dinner's ready. Dinner's ready. Dinner's ready. Oh. She would have to get right between me and the blocks and take my face and pull it away. Dinner is ready now. And still my face would go back to the block. So I am kind of like a dog with a bone in that way.
That's cool, man.
So persistence.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, if you have to live with me, that might be a little irritating.
But now you're becoming more patient, so it's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember you were being patient?
That's right. He's getting more patient with his persistence.
I'm not sure that women find that to be a particularly attractive characteristic.
Who can we call right now to get a counterpoint?
Oh, gosh.
I love it. Okay, so we have this little thing we do. Well, first of all, do you want to tell the animation story?
Oh, you have a great animation story.
Well, if
it kind of speaks to that, doesn't it?
It kind of does because am I getting in the way here?
Look, isn't that crazy?
See, I don't know what to do with my body when I'm.
It's high tech in here, dude. Just
but we
don't worry
can move
about
that out of your way. Isn't that crazy?
Well, the reason I thought you might want to hear this is it really has to do with persistence. Go back to the early '80s, and I had the idea that I would get into animation. Now, the interesting reason, I suppose, I wanted to get into animation is because my buddy Michael Bell told me that I couldn't. I saw Mike at an audition with another guy reading some animation sides, and I said to him, hey, you know, I've always thought that might be kind of fun to do animation. Maybe I'll give that a try sometime. And Michael looked at me in that way of his and said, Beau, I don't think this is really for you. You come from broadcasting, and this is really for actors.
Wow.
And that's true. That is true. I mean, I'll tell you one thing about Michael is he will tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Unvarnished sometimes. But
that's a good friend, though.
You know,
a good friend will do that.
But here's my response. My response was, that's interesting. So in other words, you don't think I can do this?
Gauntlet is down. We know what that means.
I was only kind of interested in doing an animation. Now I'm really interested. Well, I got obsessed with it, and I put together a demo of character stuff, took it to my agent, and my agent actually called me in and said, I want to talk to you about this. My agent at the time was Arlene Thornton, and her husband Jack Angel, who is one of the great animation actors of all time, great guy. And he said, the two of them said, we want to talk to you about this because this demo shows some talent, but you know what? It's not ready. You're not ready. This demo is incredibly derivative. And what do you mean? And Jack said, you hear this voice right here? That's a Dawes Butler voice. You hear this voice here? That's a Don Messick voice. This is Hollywood, man. You can't rip off other people. And, you know, because if they want Don Messick, they'll get him.
Yeah.
You know? And he said, no, but I don't think you did that intentionally. I think those sounds were just in your head, and you just reproduced them thinking, well, that's what animation sounds like.
Influences, yeah.
So he said, but there were a couple of things that let us know that you can probably do this, but you're not there yet. And you've got some work to do. And I said, well, what kind of work should I do? And they said, well, okay, there are some classes. Susan Blue has a wonderful class. I took Susan Blue's class. She said, there's another class you probably ought to take. Oh, who teaches that? Michael Bell.
Wah, wah, wah.
Okay. Am I going to eat the ego and take Michael Bell's class? Yes, I did.
Yes,
and you know what? It was very, very good. And Michael is a hard director. But again, he tells you the truth, you know. And okay, one thing leads to another. It's been a while. I'm not producing any results. Sending out muffin baskets and demos.
Muffin baskets!
Promotional postcards. I'm doing everything. Nothing.
Don't send out muffin baskets.
So I get a call from my mother back in Oklahoma who's asking me how the animation thing's going. I said, well, not really getting anywhere. And she says, well, now, honey, you should call up Hanna-Barbera and remind them about that letter you wrote them when you were in the 3rd grade. And you see, I did. My grandmother got me started writing letters to famous people when I was little. And when the Flintstones came out, was a primetime network show on Friday nights on ABC, I learned to draw Fred Flintstone. So I wrote a letter. Dear Mr. Hanna, Mr. Barbera, I am a 3rd grader in Oklahoma, and as you can see, I can draw Fred Flintstone. Can you use me?
Oh, love it.
Well, I got a letter back from these guys. Maybe from a secretary over their signature, but saying, dear kid in Oklahoma, no, we can't use you.
Dear kid in Oklahoma.
We don't use kids to animate our shows.
Right.
But you show some talent, and if you become a commercial illustrator and end up in Southern California, look us up. And a nice little thing about going for your dreams or something.
Yeah.
So my mom said, well, you should call them up and remind them about that. I'm sure they'd remember. Mom, no. That's not the way it works. This is Hollywood. We have managers and agents, and that's not the way it's done. Well, I just think that if you... No, Mom, no. Well, in a few months, producing no results...
Mother knows best.
I said, well, what can it hurt? So I wrote a letter. Dear Mr. Hanna, Mr. Barbera, you can't possibly remember this, but I was a 3rd grader, and I wrote you a letter, and I could draw Fred Flintstone. As it turns out, I'm not an illustrator, but I am a professional voice actor, and I've had no luck in getting through to your casting people, and I would so much love to work for you. Is there any possibility that you could take a listen to my demo? A week later, I got a call from the head of my talent agency saying, Beau, and this is the guy who never calls anybody. This is the head guy in the carpeted office.
Yeah.
And he says, we have a booking for you for a general audition at Hanna-Barbera. I said, oh my God, that's fantastic. He said, yes, but we're a little puzzled by this because Hanna-Barbera hasn't done general auditions for voice actors in a very long time. And if they started, frankly, you're not one of the first names we would think of to send. So we're a little confused about how this came to be. So I just said, well, I guess they just recognized talent over there at Hanna-Barbera. And I went and did my general audition for Gordon Hunt, who was their director of recording for many years. And it was very mediocre, I know. It was not very good. But they gave me a role on Flintstone Kids.
Wow.
I love it.
Put that there.
Right on.
That's some cool stuff right there.
The moral is, one, keep at it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. And listen to your mother.
Listen to your mother.
Absolutely.
That's so cool, man.
Will you pick a number between 5 and 129?
115. Please, thank you.
Oh my gosh, I opened right to it.
Wow.
Okay, now pick a number between 1 and 4.
3.
All right. If you had to choose a television personality to be president of the United States, who would you pick?
Arthur Godfrey.
Nice.
Wow.
It's an oldie but a goodie. I just dated the crap out of myself. He was one of the first people to use the television medium in a personal way. He was one of the best storytellers ever. And this was back when television was this grainy, tiny little screen, gray. But this guy reached out and talked to you like you were sitting there with him. And, you look at some of those old things. He is one of the most effective communicators in the medium. And, that was 1 billion years ago.
I love it.
Wow. That's so cool. Man,
Thank you so much for being here, Beau.
Thank you so much, Beau.
Thank you for...
It was such a pleasure. We appreciate your support of the show and all you do for the business, and you're just fabulous, and you're welcome anytime.
Well, thanks for letting me come into your, very artfully designed place.
Crushed velvet all
Very
around,
crushed
ladies and gentlemen.
velvet.
In my shabby
right now-
voiceover attire.
Yeah,
you know.
right now
Furry
Beau's going like,
pillows and-
wow, my place should be decked out like this.
It's kind of like,
No, mine is decorated in dog hair.
Yeah, there you
It's,
go.
that's the best.
I've just incorporated dog hair into the decor as
Yeah,
a design
yeah.
element.
Yes.
The awesome Beau Weaver, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Chuck and Stacy invited me to come and be on their show to talk about the voiceover world, and I have a very important lesson to teach you stolen from Marlon Brando. You know, and it's about how to be the guy, how to just be the guy. And if that is intended to be a Marlon Brando impression, this is going to be a very, very poor episode. You know, and what is this guy doing? Get him off camera now.
Well, all I gotta say is that Beau Weaver is my new best friend. What about you?
Me too. Love him.
A guy of that stature coming here, sharing with you guys, showing you his tricks of the trade. Pretty unbelievable, right?
It is.
That concludes our awesome episode with Beau Weaver.
Go to VOBuzzweekly.com, you guys, and send us your raves. Also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest at VO Buzz Weekly. Take care until next time, and just remember, you always have time for a little buzz.